Thank you very much for joining us in the forum. Um, this being October, traditionally, this has been the last forum of the year. Typically, we haven't met in November and December since we started these in early 2000. But I have been talking to my colleagues in the office here, depending on if something new comes up, this year being so unique, we might decide to have another one in November, and maybe even, I don't know if there would be any time in December to have one, because as you know, half of December is going to be, basically the campus is going to be closed. So we would give you some updates today, and then hopefully we would get some questions from you, and we go from there. So the first thing I want to talk about, as I mentioned, just the last 2 weeks of December, you all know that the campus has ordered us to close. Let's see if I can see my sharing screen. I can show you the days that they have told us to close. Here it is. I hope you see that. Grace, do you see the screen there? Okay, so these are the dates that the campus has told us they would be closed. And as you see, it's the last 2 weeks of December, basically. This is the order we received. It says, local Davis campus curtailment program are as follows. It's 6 days that are outside the days that are holidays, and they have to close. Those 6 days are December 21st, December 22nd, December 23rd, and then there are 2 days of holidays, and then the next 3 days are these 3 days. So basically, based on what we have been told, our office would be closed starting from December 21st, and we would come back on January 4th, which is Monday, January 4th. That's for the whole campus. There are some exceptions to these closing of the offices, which it wouldn't really affect us in sponsored programs, because we know if there is any proposal that needs to come in, Kelly would talk about it. They have to come in beforehand. So that's really what we have to concentrate on. The fact that I assume that departments obviously are following the same thing, so there won't be any emails coming in, going out, and so on and so forth. Kelly, do you want to talk about the deadlines, or
Sure.
what we should do?
Yeah, so with the dates Ahmad just spoke about in mind, we are requesting that anything that's due on or before January 4th be submitted to sponsor programs by 8 a.m. on Monday, December 14th. That should give us enough time to complete full reviews on those proposals. Anything that comes in after 8 a.m. on Monday, December 14th may be subject to a limited review or even a no review. So we also ask that you keep that date in mind for anything due the first week of January as well. So that would be the 4th through the 8th, just to make sure that we can review them as thoroughly as possible before the submission deadlines.
Okay, thank you. And we looked at the deadlines of major sponsors, federal sponsors, and we see probably one only from NSF that might affect our campus, and that's on January 4th. There's another deadline in NSF on December 30th, which doesn't seem like our university would be eligible to apply for even. It's for tribal universities. So it would be minimal effect on us, but most importantly, all of you know that when there is a call for proposal, typically the call for proposal is out 6, 7, 8 months before the deadline. So whatever anybody wants to apply for, which might have a deadline during the time that the office would be closed, the call has been out for the last several months. So if you help your faculty members to, if they want to apply for something, send it in. During the time that we are closed, unless if emergency come in, and emergency is definitely not the situation that a decision scientist is made to send a proposal out when in fact the call has been out for several months. That's not emergency. We won't be able to deal with that. In our office, technically, there shouldn't be any situation that is emergency. We are not like, for example, IRB. I don't know if I see John there. John, do you want to talk about end of the year to see if?
Wait, sorry,
Yes,
can I jump in? There's one question that says, does this apply to School of Medicine in Sacramento as well?
Well, the campus has said that the curtailment doesn't affect, I mean, it is not for School of Medicine, but that doesn't mean that if School of Medicine is open, we are going to be open. The core of the campus is closed and we are in core of the campus. So the fact that School of Medicine might be exempt from curtailment doesn't affect us. So John?
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're going. But with the School of Medicine still being active, we'll probably have a skeleton crew available in the event of an unexpected event or an adverse event or an emergency situation. So if anything, we'll have 3 or 4 people available during this period of time.
Okay, and also some of you might remember last year our office was closed during the period between Christmas and New Year. There were 4 days, and the way John and I worked on that was that we sent a joint announcement out to the campus saying that we were closed, and we gave you a couple of phone numbers for this situation of emergency. Most probably John and I would do the same thing this year too. So we would give you a short email, maybe in next week or so. And then we would remind you, then that's what we did last year. We sent it now, I believe, the 2nd week of November. And we did 2 or 3 follow-up saying that, remember that, no, this is what we sent out. And in that email, there were 2 phone numbers, one for IRB and one for us. And in our office, we really didn't get any questions during those 4 days on the phone call. We got a couple of emails coming through, but nothing was urgent. So, but John might receive some because his operation is different.
Can I also
Cindy.
speak? Hi, can I also speak? So animal care and use, I don't know if Donna's on the call, but animal care and use is taking a similar approach. They'll generally be closed, but they will have individuals assigned to be on call during that time in case of any kind of emergencies or situations that arise. So that's how IACUC will be handling it.
Okay, so I don't know if Cindy, maybe we can work together to see if we want to send one announcement out for everybody. I know that again last year John and I sent an announcement out, and this year Bill Tucker from Innovation Access has also asked me that if he would be a part of our announcement. So from up to this point, the 3 of us would be sending announcements out. It would be John, Bill, and I, and we would put it on all of the listservs. So if you decide you want to add IACUC to that too, we would.
Yes, I would like, yes, I think that would be best.
Okay, it would be a short message with 4 lines saying that these are what each offices are doing. Okay, good. That's good. Any questions on that? Grace, do you see anything in chat? I don't see anything in here.
No.
Okay. That's good. So if other questions come up, let us know. Cindy, did you want to talk about the partial opening of research that the announcement came out a couple of days ago?
Sure. So an announcement did come out. So hopefully you've received the email. But because Yolo County has gone to red zone out of purple zone, but there's ongoing activity actually in Sacramento that makes it, so things, it's a changing situation, obviously, with the coronavirus. But we did go to red here. And so in response, we've been talking a lot with faculty who want to start up their research, those who have not been able to come to campus thus far, and also labs that maybe would like to do more work beyond what the restrictions originally were, which is you have to have something that is quite, time sensitive or coronavirus related, those kinds of things. So the announcement basically says we're not going all the way to phase 3. We're going to go to phase 2X. So something in between phase 2 and phase 3. And essentially that time sensitive requirement is no longer really in play. And it does not have to just be associated with coronavirus type research. So those are the things that have gone away, so long as you can follow all the other criteria of phase 2, which means, maintaining social distancing, following all of the campus requirements for coming back to campus, and no more than a 50% capacity in the lab, at any given time. And so long as you can stay within the safety parameters, you can go up. Right now we have between 20-30% of our labs are currently active, so this would be a increase. But yes, that announcement just came out, and so we're making progress on reopening our research.
Thank you, Cindy. When that came out a couple of days ago, I got a couple of emails actually that they asked the following question. Everybody is hoping to for us to keep going forward and more of the research would open. But with the news across the country, I don't know what's happening around here necessarily, that there is the second or third wave is coming through, and there are more numbers of infected people. So are we going back to 1x instead of 2x at one point, or what's?
We're really following what the county is, where the county is at. So obviously, if our counties dropped back into purple level criteria, we would need to peel back. But for now, we're in the red zone, and in Davis in particular, we haven't seen, in spite of we have a pretty robust testing mechanism now on campus for the students that are on campus. We didn't want to go to phase 3 until we have all of our CLIA certifications for that testing program, the saliva testing program, so that we can be doing that on campus. And we've bought more instrumentation so that can expand as well. But we have to get those certifications in place before we can expand it to others on campus beyond the student population. So that's why we're taking a more a restricted approach right now instead of going all the way to phase 3. We really want to have that testing capacity in place before we ramp up beyond that. But of course, if something really goes south and we go back to purple from the county perspective, then we'll reassess where we are. So yes, that is something you should consider when you're thinking of ramping up your lab or coming back. Should this second wave gain momentum and we end up in a different zone, you might have to scale back again. So keep that in mind as you're making these decisions. And there is a process to follow should you want to return or ramp up. So that it's like an application process. We want to coordinate this so that environmental health and safety and facilities and everyone knows what the capacity is in the various buildings, and we can try to coordinate that. So that's kind of where we are. Okay.
Thank you very much for the update. I don't see any questions on that. Grace, do you want to give an update on the award sides, please?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so the first announcement I have is Cassie Obolero, the longtime SPO trainer, has left to take another position. So currently we are not holding live training classes for the SPO Basics courses. So the Thursday SPO Basics courses You can find the linked information on the SPO page. All the training materials are online, all of the topics, and we will not hold the live courses until we get our next trainer. And the SDPS classes that we hold on campus, they will be held via Zoom starting in January. Those will still be held live, okay? A few more announcements. For those of you with Citrus Research Board awards, Citrus Research Board. Okay, in a letter released October 1st, the Citrus Research Board announced that their new policy is that any delays in award execution is not considered an acceptable justification for a no-cost extension. So the no-cost extension has to be related to the research. It can't just be, well, my contract was signed late. Okay, they're not going to grant any no-cost extension based on administrative delays. And another quick announcement is Sponsor Programs has updated our protocol certification form to include PI certification for congruence on the IRB protocol. The certification form is linked on our SPO website, so if you pull that up, you will see that the certification for IRB and IACUC protocol are identical. The language is identical, so you have the PI has to certify congruency between the protocol and the scope of the project for IRB protocols and IACUC protocols. Okay. The link is the same on the SPO website, but it pulls up that revised form with that updated language. And just another quick announcement, as we talked about at the beginning, we do have these curtailment days. For those of you with awards that are ending in December and you have administrative requests such as no cost extensions or carry forwards or rebudgeting requests that require prior approvals, please get those to us preferably by the end of November, because if you give it to us, 2 days before the end of December, there's not going to be anybody here to answer that email. So please do get those requests into us early. The earlier, the better. Okay, any questions on the award side? That's all from me.
Okay. I don't see any questions coming up. I guess we are doing really great. Everything is so clear that there is no question. Let's see, James, do you have updates? Air to James.
I do. I have an update. Good morning, everyone. And we also have a little presentation that Deborah's going to be sharing. We'll want to share her screen here in a minute, Ahmad. My update is I would like to let everyone know that we are adjusting our process having to do with cost transfers that are related to issues coming out of some, technical issues in UC Path. So what we're going to do, what we have been doing for cases where folks haven't been able to execute those cost transfers through UC Path is we've been initiating journal vouchers that we're reversing so that once the technical issues were resolved, you'd be able to go in and actually make those corrections through the payroll system. However, this is kind of we just don't know when this is going to wrap up. So to hopefully help out a little bit, what we're going to do is for cases where we're needing to do some transfers on funds or accounts that are closed or in the process of being closed, we will go ahead and do a regular non-reversing JV. So that will just move the expense to where it needs to be. And then there will be no expectation that down the road you'll need to go back and pick up the pieces. But the limitation is 5%. So we want these to be relatively small transactions within the effort reporting system. With our effort reporting process, we have a tolerance of 5%. So when effort reports are certified, we say they need to be, within 5% of the, the percentage that's showing up on that report. So this will fold into that. I've got an email that I'm sending to the Contracts and Grants listserv just as soon as I finish typing a couple more things in here. So you should see that arriving in your email here pretty darn soon. So that's my big thing. I have to, say the same thing I have to say every month for the last few months is we have 4 or 5 vacancies in our fund management teams right now that we're working on filling. We're moving just as fast as we can to try to get those positions filled and some additional folks in and brought up to speed. But please, please understand that's where we are. If you have special, urgent situations, please contact one of our supervisors, Tammy Castelli or Lenora Bruce, and let them know that you have an urgent situation. If perhaps the fund manager you're communicating with hasn't been able to get back to you just yet, that will let them try to figure out what we can do to move that along. Along the campus curtailment lines, it'll be the same thing, pretty much, I think, for contracts and grants accounting. With this announcement just recently coming out, we need to figure out what the impact is going to be on us, whether we're going to have cash draws that are going to need to happen. In our case, we have, financial reporting deadlines that are due in December. We have a big batch of NIH reports that are due in December, other sponsors as well. So we're going to have to do some decisions about how to manage that. Ledgers don't close for us until the 9th of September, I think it was. That gives us like a week and a half to do a month's worth of work. So that'll be very interesting for my team. So we're going to put our heads together and figure out how we can have the most successful result. Any questions as far as what I've been sharing? Let's see something. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with everybody. We do want to give you an update on what's happening with the effort reporting system for this year. So I'm going to hand it off to Deborah Henn, our compliance and training supervisor, and she's going to walk us through this year's effort reporting season.
Okay, sorry, can I jump in right before Deborah starts her presentation? I just want to address the question in the chat box. The Davis Campus Curtailment Program is different from the UCOP proposed program, which is currently open for feedback. In the event that UCOP directs a curtailment program, will Davis be exempt from it since we have the local program in December? Any HR people here?
That's a good question. Again, the way I read the announcement from Office of the President, it said that they are asking campuses to have a minimum of 5 days of curtailment. And originally there was some, I know there was some discussion of maybe those days would be without pay, and apparently it was changed that now it is with pay. We have to take vacation time. But to the best of my knowledge and information that has come from HR, they have made that decision that on this campus there would be those 6 days, and that's what they have given us. The days that I showed you on the screen and all of you have seen from the emails from, and it was in Dateline actually yesterday too. So, I mean, if HR changes their position, then we would follow what they are giving us. At this point, that's all we know and nothing more than that. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, James, I think there's a question for you. During curtailment period, will the department accounts not be open for new clinical trials awarded during that time, especially COVID and flu studies?
That's part of what we're going to have to decide what our plans are going to be. This was, we just got this program announced, so we're going to have to figure out, what critical personnel, critical activities we're going to need to have somebody in the office to do. Well, not in the office, online to do.
Is it different for health systems?
But clinical trial is only in health system anyway. I think what I understood James is saying, they have to figure out what needs to be done for clinical trial. I can tell you that for awards that come through sponsored programs, nobody would be here to process awards, and there won't be any urgency. I mean, if there is no urgency, we can take care of it before December 21st. But whatever comes in later, we would take care of it as far as running it through accounting. But clinical trials, and especially if it is COVID issues, I suppose the School of Medicine, it's health system contracts that takes care of clinical trials. So they would take care of it from there. And I don't know their plans. So if there's any questions, it should go to health system contracts. I don't know if any of their members might be in the forum right now that might who might be able to answer it. But that's where you have to go.
Lori just put a note in the chat box.
Okay, what does Lori say?
She said skeleton staff over holidays for clinical trials with priority on COVID and flu study awards.
Oh, perfect. So that's the answer to that question. Thank you, Lori. Okay, anything else? No?
So this is Deborah. If you're ready for me, then could you allow me to share my screen?
Please, go ahead.
It's telling me that you've disabled participant sharing.
Now, we have to ask Cassie. She is not here. So let me see if I can see anything in here. Deborah, more.
I think you should, Deborah, I allowed you to share screen.
Okay.
Right now?
Okay, yeah, now it works. Okay.
Perfect.
I want this one. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's fall, so it's time to get ready for effort reporting. We are going to be using ERS for effort reporting again this year, and we are currently working on finishing up the upgrade for UC Pass. The software upgrade's been done, but we've got some data loads that we're waiting for some files with some fixes in it so that we can minimize the number of errors that we've got from UC Pass. So that'll be coming. There are very few things that you'll notice in the interface. There's not really a lot changing with how the system works. The processes are still the same.
Deborah, are you sharing your screen right now?
Yeah, we will see it.
I am.
We're not seeing it.
I see it.
You're seeing it? Oh.
I don't know if anybody else, but I see it. Yeah, other people are saying it too. So
okay, it's my fault. My fault. Never mind. Sorry.
Thank you all. Go ahead, Deborah.
Okay. Thank you. So you won't notice any process changes really. Everything's going to be ready for when we're starting to get ready for when the Common Chart of Accounts comes out. That infrastructure has been built into the system now as well. There are some label changes and things, and I did turn on a feature that we've had that has been turned off in the past, so we're going to look at those couple things today. So just for really quickly, there are a few changes. We'll post this on the website, on the ERS website, so you all can look at it when you want to, but just to note that there's a couple of new fields in the payroll details screen, similar to what you've been seeing on the UC Pass 339. And so I'm not going to go through those in detail, but there's detail here about what has changed and things like that. This is the new feature that we're going to start using. It's called under preliminary review. And what will happen is when the PI comes in and looks at their list of effort reports, they will have potentially a check mark in the under review box, this is a new column on the report. And anybody who has coordinator permissions will be able to check or uncheck this box. And the way that you'll do that is by going to the report itself. But so it'll look like this on the list. When the PI comes in to do the certification, there will be a big banner up here that says report under preliminary review. I don't know, you can't see my cursor, can you? I don't think you can see my cursor, but they can use the button, the navigation button in the upper right to move to the next report rather than certify this report. We'll talk in a minute about why we want to do this. In order to set that preliminary report checkbox and the banner, you just need to check the report option that says report is under preliminary review. That's new there now. And as I said, any coordinators will be able to do that. And coordinators will also now be able to comment in the comment log. So you'll have to do it directly on the comment log page. And then you can add a note to the PI as to why the report's not ready for certification. So the reasons that we'll want to do this are if we know that there are issues in the UC path where documents have not gone through, or we're having documents that aren't working, we've got certain functions that we know are not calculating effort correctly, I may flag the reports. If the coordinators know that there are payroll transactions that are pending, payroll transfers that need to happen before the effort's going to be correct, then the effort coordinators can go in and flag the report and put a little explanation for the PI. If the PI thinks that there's a problem with the report, he or she can flag the report. And that notification on the report should be a clue to the PI, and I will put this in the notes that go out, the emails that go out to the PIs. We'll have instructions saying if you see that red banner at the top of the report or the checkbox, then you don't want to certify that report yet. But coordinators may want to remind your PIs of that when you talk to them. And so that's pretty much it for that new feature and what's going on in ERS. We don't have a steady schedule for when we receive the data files from the UC Path team yet. I'm not sure why, because UC LA has been doing this for 2 years and there's still no schedule available to say when the files are going to come. So we're waiting for the fixed files. They're still working on a couple of fixes. We're waiting for files to come in. As soon as the data files are available for October and going back to last September, then we will get those loaded up, and we may hit our normal start date of November 15. It's possible that we will be delayed. We won't start any sooner than normal, but if the files come later than we expect, then we may delay the start. And if we need to, if the start gets delayed too much, then we will go ahead and adjust the certification due date as well. And then just because we are working on testing and some other projects, we may not see the normal things posted on the web and the calendar updated as quickly as we normally do. Because normally I'm already into that activity by this time of year and I've just not had a chance to do it yet. So does anyone have questions about anything that I've talked about here so far? Well, I mean, I'm done. So if anybody has questions, let me know. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen while people have questions. Yeah.
So
I will post it this morning.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Grace, do you see any questions anywhere?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
No,
how soon will this be on the website?
I'll post it this morning.
Okay.
I have a follow-on comment if I could jump back in.
What will the certification period be? So the certification period is going to be from the September 8th biweekly will be included, and everything after that through September 30th of this year. And for monthly folks, it'll be their September 30 pay through September 30 of 19 through September 30 of 2020. Okay, sorry, James. What was your question?
No. Go ahead. Is there anything else related to ERS? Looks like that's all done. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything else.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I just wanted to go back to my comments a little while ago about cost transfers. I also wanted to just remind folks that we have a process that we're asking you to follow if you have high risk transfers that need, that need our approval before you move forward with those. In the email I'm going to send out to the listserv, I'm going to include the link to our webpage that describes the process. It sounds like folks are not consistently following that process, causing a little bit of unnecessary back and forth. So if you could just go ahead and follow that. The process is basically come to us before you submit the transfer through UC Path, and that way we have already approved it. It's ready to go through. So anyway, I'll include that link. Please keep that in mind as you're doing quote unquote high risk transfers. High risk transfers are transfers more than 120 days on federal funds or more than 90 days after the award end date, I think. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, anything else anybody wants to share?
There's another
Discuss?
question, James.
Go ahead.
So the question is, will the JV help with the benefits cost transfer? Perhaps. Lenora, can you chime in on that, please? Or if it's something that we need to discuss internally before we. It depends. Yes.
They should reach out to Tammy or I or their fund manager if there's a benefit issue, so we can figure out how it needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Okay. There's just so many scenarios. Next question, is the sponsor invoicing now automatic? It seems like there are some issues with sponsor invoices with the UC Path issues. We have an automated billing system. It's the Contracts and Grants Billing System, CGB, that generates more than half of our awards go through CGB and have system generated invoices. Those invoices just pick up whatever posts to the ledger. So if stuff comes through out of UC Path that is or is not correct, that's going to be what hits the invoice. Because that's kind of where we are. So if we know there are issues, then we can do manual interventions, but that's really not desirable, basically. Does that answer your question there? Good. Well, thanks for the question. Okay.
So nothing else, James? I guess there is no other questions in the chat. Anything else from anybody in sponsored programs, IRB? I don't know if compliance is online. Anybody from compliance? No? Any questions for any of us? Well, remember, this might be the last forum for the year. So again, maybe some of you were not online when I said that because of all of the, things which have been happening this year, lots of things have changed. In the past, we never had forums in November and December, but if something comes up, some new issue that we have to share with you, we might have another one in November, in which case I'll send a message out to the listserv. But short of that, the next time we will meet would be the 4th week of January.